I'm black.
I'm the beast.
I'm black. I'm the beast.
And y'all are back.
And I'm black.
I'm the beast. What's going on?
And we're back with another episode. And today we are talking about fathers.
Oh,
Yes, we're talking about fathers. Why is it so hard for Black America, so he say, to fill this important role as a father? Is mothers allowing fathers to be the father he desired to be? And what is it that we can do to help the fathers that want to be a better example and didn't have the experience? Those are our 3 segments for today.
Is it?
Father.
Ooh, wee.
Yeah.
So, why is Black America having such a hard time feeling?
This important role. Well, I'm going to go straight to the system. This was definitely by design.
Go ahead then, Blake. Talk about it.
Yeah, because you're going to go a whole nother way for them.
Okay.
We was definitely displaced when we talk about family dynamics.
Okay.
And that was by design. So I think Black men and other ethnic group of fathers definitely had a different hand in being the father they desire to be. Now, it doesn't change the fact that you're able to be a better example than you had. I just think, how did we get here? When you say Black America, how did Black America get here? By design. That's how I would answer that question. But you're a father out here. So what is your perception of that question?
I'm just reading the question over again.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about Black fathers, and the question is, why is Black America having such a hard time filling this important role in our families? I can understand why you say the system, but I would say piss poor choices. The cards were stacked against me as a father. I had no father. I had no male example. I was raised by a woman and women collectively. I didn't even know how to be a young man myself when I had my first child. So I'm not going to let people say, it's not saying that I don't agree with you, but I'm not going to allow everybody to say the system. Because yes, the system has a lot to do with it, but I think it's just piss poor choices. In life, as a father, every one of us have a choice. When that woman comes and tells you that she's pregnant, that moment, you have a choice to pretty much say whether or not you're going to be there for that woman in that process and be there for your child. In that very moment, this is before the baby is even here. You have that choice.
Okay.
And I do believe that a lot of men, when a woman tells him that she's pregnant or that they're pregnant, however you want to verb it, they teeter-tot in them 9 months. Do I want to be there? Do I don't want to be there? Can I be a father? Do I have what it takes? Am I ready? I'm scared. They're going, just like that woman is going through emotional trauma in the process of being pregnant with the baby transitioning and growing within her womb and things of that sort. That man is going through that same emotional trauma mentally because he doesn't know if he's worthy. He doesn't know if he's able. He doesn't know. These are all questions that he has to figure out within 9 months, to be honest. All right? And I'm not.
But the question is figuring out if you have the option to not.
No. No. I'm just no. The option is not an option. Okay, let me.
She's pregnant. She's pregnant. You
Right. There's no option.
Uh-huh.
But he does still struggle with that, just like a woman struggles on if she want to keep the baby or not. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
She's struggling with that, and he's struggling with that too. You see what I'm saying? A woman. I ain't met many women, hypothetically, single women, because I ain't talking about no. It might even be happening with married women too. But at some point in time in that pregnancy, you're thinking two things. I'm gonna end up having to do this by myself, or do I even want to keep this baby?
Okay.
That's safe. Okay. So at that
and
very
apply that on today. It's illegal to get abortion. So now what do you do?
that's in certain states, but a whole nother topic for a whole nother day.
Across many of states. So.
Right. So how do you deal with that now? But I'm going somewhere with the things that the man struggles with. I'm not saying that there is an option. In my opinion, my humble opinion, there is no option. The minute both of my kids' moms told me they was pregnant, I was all in. That's not me. But I am speaking on behalf of men that I know and men as a whole. I think I'm comfortable enough to speak in that position to where these are some of the things that they're thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
He's not necessarily thinking about can he walk through, should he walk away? But he is thinking about the pressures and the cares and the things that he's questioning. Is he ready? And yes, from your thought process, I'm sure you're like, oh, well, he was ready when he was laying down. He was ready. I know where you're going. I know you very well. But at the same time, now shit really getting real. You feel what I'm saying? For both of them. Should have got real a long time ago. But it's real now. And in that 9 months, just as much as she's struggling with carrying the baby and things of that sort, these are the things that he's thinking about. It's not necessarily valid. But at the same time, he is, in a sense, allowed to think it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Going to now, that choice should not be an option. Even though he think it is in his brain, it shouldn't be. The minute she says that she's pregnant, all right, what we doing? What's the plan? We're gonna sit down and we're gonna come up with a plan. This is what we're gonna do. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it should go.
Okay.
Most of the time, I'm gonna be honest with you, it don't. He goes off. I don't even know what happens. I wish I had some women on here to tell me, women, when y'all tell a man, hey, I'm pregnant, what is his response? Because to be honest, in my mind, if you call me and tell me, hey, Dion, I'm pregnant, his response is going to dictate every fucking thing about what I do next.
Yes.
If I was the woman. You feel what I'm saying? His response is everything. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's like the golden ticket. You feel me? Like if he pauses, if he hiccups, if he is not excited, if he like the red flag just be like blah, 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 in a woman's head. It should. And I'm sure it does. So it's like, man, you better have the most greatest response ever. Because this is like, you want to talk about like one of the scariest things ever?
At the point that
try hesitating.
Unprotected. Do y'all think about that then?
I do.
Hey, at the point that now we have reached a part in this transaction to where we can plant a seed.
Okay.
So now, what would be my thought if she called me in 2 weeks and said she was pregnant? Mm-hmm. In a few weeks. That don't cost you mine.
I do mine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I tell fellas, my young partners or whatever case may be, but don't have unprotected sex with her if you ain't thinking about having no kid with her. It's as simple as that. Why have unprotected sex with a woman if you ain't desire a baby? Mm-hmm. Because that's a 50-50 chance. No doubt. Here's the reality. This is no knock on no women. So please don't knock me when I say this.
Because we're talking about fathers today.
Yeah, but don't trust a woman just because she on a pill or anything else. Straight up.
Okay.
Don't trust that. Because that's just real. That's just, if you want to completely protect yourself, don't trust that.
Yeah, because you protect yourself from more than just having a baby.
Absolutely, but don't trust that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Don't be like, oh yeah, I can do it, man. I can swim in her because she on the pill. Who gives a fuck? Mm-hmm. Don't do that. Because you don't know if she took it today. Mm-hmm. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying women are scandalous. I'm not saying any of that, but I'm saying shit happens. Shit happens. So the reality of it is don't trust that. That's the first thing. Second of all, word protection. Third of all, if you don't think about, If you can't see yourself having a baby, well, you can't see yourself having a baby with this woman, then don't be unprotected.
I would agree with that advice.
You know, so I think at the end of the day, I do agree with you. Two things can be true.
Mm-hmm.
It is very, very true that society is part of the reason why we're having such a hard time in our families as a Black community.
Yeah.
But I also believe choice is a reason. Because men are making piss poor choices. Men are making choices behind relationships.
Okay.
Here's the thing for me.
Well, that sounds good.
Here's the thing to me. My choice doesn't dictate if I take care of my kids or not.
Okay, I hear you.
Here's the reason. I'm gonna know it. Scratch that. Don't take that out. My relationship, doesn't dictate my choice on if I'm gonna take care of my kid. And that's what a lot of men are doing. I ain't in a relationship with her. I ain't gonna take care of my kid. Who are you hurting? Who are you hurting?
You remember that guy that said if he don't love the baby mother, he don't love the child?
Yeah, we were seeing that on something.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it is.
was,
But that's the stupidest concept I've ever heard of. That child is still 50% you.
Oh, yeah.
How can you not love something
They came to you.
that is you? Here's the hard reality. Some women would agree. Some people would disagree. Some women probably tell me I'm crazy as hell. There's no baby without the man.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank period.
Okay.
There's no baby without the seed. The seed is the baby. It's almost like babysitting. I'm going there. So, don't laugh at me, but I'm serious. When I insert that seed in her, she's babysitting for me.
Johnny Appleseed.
No, straight up. She's babysitting for me. She's babysitting. She's watching the kids. She's nurturing the kid, all in this womb.
Okay.
She's feeding it. She's, making sure everything is good for that baby.
Yeah.
But without my seed, that baby doesn't exist.
Right.
What I'm saying, I'm going somewhere here. What I'm saying is men, you're the reason. How can you not love something that you're the reason for?
But man should be responsible for the baby.
If you want to ask me,
it should be daddy's baby, mama's baby instead of mama's baby, daddy's baby.
I don't understand.
Going, ladies. We finna
Yeah,
this shit
I
out.
understand. I don't understand how a man can't be excited about his seed being planted into a woman and creating his image.
You made the whole life.
My seed implanted into this woman created my image. Impossible for me to walk away from that. Absolutely impossible.
So what do you think is that mentality for men that could?
Selfishness, scared. I do believe this is not an excuse. Ladies, this is not an excuse. But I do believe a lot of men out here are scared to raise a child. I do.
But they can go do some.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely
I'm
right.
confused. I just want to.
It's fucked up, but I think they're scared. I do think they're scared, and I think scared niggas run. We know that. If you finna fight me, me and you, we finna fight. If I'm scared, yeah, I'm gonna run. Yeah, I'm gonna run. If I'm scared, what is he doing in that relationship? If she say she pregnant, what does he do? If he's scared, he gonna run. The reality of it is that some men don't need to have kids because they can't even face their own selves.
Okay.
You feel what I'm saying? Some men don't need
How
to.
can you determine that?
What do you mean?
Like, as you're dating that man, how can you tell that thing is a thing in him that is,
Ladies, the writing is always on the wall.
when obligation or responsibility comes into the play? How do you know the type of man? Because it's so many different types that just walk away from their babies. You know, you got the professionals, you got the deadbeat, you got all them different type of men that can just easily say,
it's okay to say that you're scared. Talking about the men.
After you, okay, now you're scared. Okay, cool. You're scared.
It's okay. It's okay, but I want to say that to my mate. Right.
You know, not
business still got to be handled.
And then 4.
Yeah,
and then 5.
business still got to be handled.
What now are you afraid of?
No, you shouldn't be.
Now are you afraid of the decision that you had made in the beginning? Are you now afraid of confronting the world with that decision from the beginning? Are you afraid of telling the baby the reality it has to live? Who are you afraid of? Who would that man be afraid of if not himself?
What's crazy to
Like-
me is I don't know this for a fact. And I've never heard a man say this, but I'm making an assumption. My assumption would be there are men out here that just are afraid of being a bad father, but you're being a bad father if you're not there. You see what I'm saying?
So that's
Like, but you're still afraid of being a bad father or not doing what you're supposed to do as a father. But when you're not present, you're still being a deadbeat father anyway. You feel what I'm saying? I don't know how true that is, but I'm just saying that could be a reason. It's hard for me to speak on some shit that I don't do. And I'm just taking some wild stabs at it. I don't even associate myself with men that don't take care of their children.
right.
Like that's a no-go for me.
Mhm.
Like there's no excuse.
Mhm.
I know that transparency, I know realistically there are some excuses. But after you've done all you can, do all you can some more.
Yeah.
So that's just where I'm at with it. But the system is a very important fact because just as well as the system is a reason why we can't, there's ways of stopping a man from trying to. And that's part of the system.
I think generations after generations of having our families torn apart,
Mhm.
a certain mentality was developed, and it can, we can't say we weren't brought up into that same dynamic,
Mhm.
but we had an opportunity to either have two parent households or individual. Your daddy had a house, your mama, you had different systems that worked.
So
other
I wouldn't say
than
that
just
was
having
society. I would say that was cycles.
two cycles of
Okay.
displacement, and I feel like with all the different arrangements of how to have a kid, society handpicked different rules we can now follow. Like you can just put him on child support. He ain't got to be here. You can just put him on child support. Or you leave here. I'm going to use child support to keep you here. Or I can scare you into conforming to what type of parent I want you to be. And I guess that's what you're asking. Are mothers allowing fathers to be the type of fathers they desire?
Yeah, we're gonna get to that later. Yeah.
But if that's all they've been taught from the women before them, how do you now raise your child when he's already reacted in a way he don't want the baby? You either have to have some very uncomfortable conversation saying, hey, this is where we at, this is our option, especially today where you don't have a termination option.
Okay.
So now we have to have a uncomfortable conversation about who you are and who I am, because you don't know each other from the start
Mhm.
of creating a baby plan to move forward. I don't feel like it gives either parent a good position to be the best parent they can be, because you still got to figure out how we can be a parent together, and now it's my individual, and you learn it both at the same time.
Here's the reality.
That would be
Is
my
that-
concern.
Yeah, but I think in life I think us as individuals, well, I can only speak for me, but I do believe that most of us perform well should perform well under pressure.
Why would you want to be under pressure for something that you have to be completely selfless for?
Because the reality of it is
a
that-
plan is required, at least. I need
let's-
to at least know.
Let's do a let's do a survey of how many kids in this world in the Black community that was actually planned. You feel what I'm saying? Like that is not going to be a lot of people. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
And it still didn't go well.
okay. I had 2 out of my 3 that was planned. So it doesn't always mean that it's going to go well, and it doesn't always mean that it's going to be perfect. But at least you know. You see what I'm saying?
You think that would be important to know whether you was born out of desire or accident?
My mom was young, so I knew I was an accident. Like it's neither here nor there. She wasn't planning me at 16 years old. I know that. I ain't got a common sense. So I get that. But I also had to, it took me 30 years to give grace to my mom because of the lack of relationship that I had with my father, for not knowing my father, for not knowing
You
who
blame
he
her for
was.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why
She was
you
the only
blame her
person.
for that?
She was the only person I could blame because she was the only person I could see. I can't blame something that I ain't never met, that I ain't never seen, that I ain't never questioned, that I ain't never had anything, no relationship, no common, no skin to skin, no nothing with. Out of sight, out of mind.
True, but
But he also wasn't down talked. He also wasn't talked in a negative light. So I can't have a negative situation on somebody that I've never seen. I can only question the person that I have in my life that's not giving me any answers.
Man.
You understand what I'm saying?
Like, why you pick him?
Right. If you're giving me, if I asked you, hey, where he's
But
at,
then she would have known at 16.
if I asked you, hey, where he's at, and you tell me, well, I don't want to talk about
I
that,
mean, not
then who
in
you think I'm finna,
16,
who you
but
think I'm gonna lash out at?
What made you pick him at 16 to lay with?
He had
Right.
raised.
Well,
She's
then I've
16.
got to
This
hold,
could-
as a child, I can hold you accountable for that.
That's
because
so you only
knew
hold the
right from
person
wrong.
accountable that you see. You can't hold the person accountable that you don't see. That's impossible to do. But I can hold my mother accountable at the time. But I also, as I grew and I became a father myself, then I had to allow this thing called grace.
Mhm.
Because now, not only am I a grown man, but also I'm a parent now.
Mhm.
So now I see it from a different light. You see what I'm saying? So now I have to allow grace that, hey, mom was 16 years old when she had me.
Yeah.
She wasn't an adult. She didn't know what that was going to look like. She needed help. She needed all of this. Like, this was not part of the plan. You understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, I have to put myself in that situation and say, dang, you know what I'm saying? Would you want to be blamed for that? No. You got to allow grace.
Mhm.
Yes, unfortunately, she made a bad choice. It happens. But I had so much anger and rage towards her growing up because of not knowing him and not feeling like she was giving me answers. If she gave me answers, it'd be different. Then I can make my own assumption.
Mhm.
But to
And
just,
your mama's the generation of kids don't question adults.
that's why I said, boy, I want to talk about
Shit
that.
to you.
Right, right.
I did what I did. You off.
Yeah,
That's it.
and that sucks because then you grow up 30, 40 years later and wondering why you're having those same issues with your kids. Wonder why you're struggling trying to have communication things with your kids, being able to talk to your kids, why the communication barrier is there, why you don't have that, because that's the way you grew up. So I am the generation in my family of breaking cycles. Not having kids at an early age, making sure that I communicate with my kids, have a relationship with my kids. I am also a generation of breaking cycles of being bad fathers in my family. You know what I'm saying? Not saying my uncles or anything were bad fathers, but it's just a different way of fathering. Here's the reality about what a lot of people don't understand about parenting, woman or man. There's no blueprint in this shit.
Yeah.
There's no Bible. There's no way of showing you the right way to do it. Here's the reality. There is no right way. You feel what I'm saying? You're just doing what you were passed down, what you were taught. 9 times out of 10, if you talk to any parent, they do most of the stuff that they do because that's the way they were taught. Point blank, period. You didn't read no book to say it was better to do it this way. You didn't do this. I'm talking about from all the way from when the child was in the womb, your mama would be like, drink this or do this, or if you want the baby to come, take a walk. You was doing whatever mama said do because she had the what? Experience. Same way. It's the same concept. So everything that you do as a parent, you're not doing it because you figured that out. You're doing that because that's what you've seen. That was what was done on you. Or that was what was taught. That's why you was taught. That's the way you're doing it. It's just passing down. So I think actually it's more so cycles that are that we're having a hard time today than it is society and choices. Cycles, bad cycles. Most men that are not good fathers probably didn't have a father. That's a study that we ain't even got to look up.
I think most men that are bad fathers have an issue with commitment. And I'm not saying committing to a relationship of a woman. I'm saying like when you plan something, what your follow through looks like. What initiation do you place forward in that? When you say you're going to take somebody X, Y, and Z, do you take that person X, Y, and Z, or do you push it off? If your track record shows that your commitment to things and situations aren't there, and you also are not committing to a relationship in the way you say you will want to, I wouldn't trust you to commit to the relationship with my child neither, because you're going to elicit certain traumas of not following through with your word. I associate that with bad parenting, whether father or mother.
Well, I guess I am the absolute. I'm a fucking Martian or something, because I wasn't a commitment person either.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't good with commitment. I wasn't good with committing with women or anything.
Did you say
But
that this
I
is what I
wasn't-
want with you,
but I
and you
wasn't-
don't commit to that?
I could tell you this. I could tell you then this is what I wanted, but in the back of my mind, I didn't know if I was going to follow through with that shit or not.
Then you shouldn't have had kids then. But the point,
But the
you
point
had
of it
your
is that
children.
the minute she told me she was pregnant,
Mhm.
It became serious.
it was light switch went on.
Right.
One thing that drove me is that I didn't want what I did. I didn't want my kids to have what I didn't have.
But it doesn't show that you had an issue with commitment in that area, because you committed to her when you married her. It showed that you're capable of doing something, have an ideal of something, and following through. Some of these men have no follow through of anything. Not in a relationship. This nigga don't even make his own doctor's appointments.
Mm-hmm.
And then you still got to wonder if he showed up to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like those type of things where he's not even adhering to the commitments he makes to himself. Like those things are valuable, and those things translate into relationships, and a relationship with your child is one of them. If he has an issue with commitment, or her, in ways of saying, I'm going to do this, and they don't do it, whether for its sister, mother, brother, or their self, you're not going to honor those commitments with your child or be committed to that child. You're going to have to learn if you're going to see it through.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it's a skill that you can learn, but that's also something that creates trauma within children. I would say that person's not ready to be a father or a mother in that sense. I genuinely
I
don't
think
think so.
parenting is one of the most selfless things a person can do, so that you have to give up your whole thing, your
Yes.
whole experience for the sake of somebody else's experience. Yeah, I'm not saying you got to lay down and die because somebody else is now born, but your lifestyle is now based off this baby and what you show it, what you know, how you feed it, what religion, all of your whole world is now giving somebody an opportunity to live out theirs, and you're giving them a safe place to do it
I think
and a
that's
safe person to call.
I think that's the same thing in your actions. I think exactly what you said of being that selfless person. At the point that I tell you that I'm going to dedicate my time to something, that's now a selfless action.
Mm-hmm.
At the point on Tuesday, I say, I'm going to help you move on Wednesday, and I get off on Wednesday and I'm tired. My selfless action and the commitment I have to you is to come help you move, because I said it, because I'm a follow through type of person. The moment that I tell you I'm no longer able to help you move, and I can have a justified reason,
Mhm.
I am then seen as unreliable. You ain't going to ask me to move shit again. You can't trust that I'm going to be your mover. It happens the same way. And I'm not saying that grace isn't necessary. Of course, you don't have to be on 100% of the time. But if you're not on at all,
So that would be one of the things you pay attention for in the relationship, if they're reliable or not. Or if
exactly.
they follow through with their word.
Yes, I feel like, and I've seen it up close. I have been raised by nothing but men, and I have nothing but examples of men in my family that are fathers, and I have seen a variety or a rainbow of fathers in that.
Mhm.
I have a cousin that has not committed to anything in his life, not to his relationship, not to a job, not to his decisions, not shit. And you laid down 3 times and had 3 kids, and still waiting for him to commit to something of what he says they're going to do. When he says he's going to give $100 for this birthday party, ain't no $100. You don't hear from him. Why would you lay down 2 more times after you done seen what he did the first time? It's shit like that I just don't understand. And he's a present father. He's there. He'll pick him up from school. You know, they can come over to his house and spend some time with them. But that's just it.
So let me ask you this, and I know I'm going left field with this, and I know we got to take a break in about a minute.
Wow.
Does that make him? And this is a hard does that make him a bad father?
Yes.
Completely?
Yes.
Probably one of the worst I've seen.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know him. I'm just
Right.
I'm
And
just
I'm
saying
being
him not following through on his word
On any
with
word.
that.
Anything.
Yes.
But you just said he'll let him come over.
He'll let them
He'll
come.
come pick him up from school.
He'll let them come
so-
over and pick them up from school, but that's it. Is that all you doing? That's all
I'm,
you're
I'm,
doing.
I'm asking, does that completely make him
That
like,
Yes.
not like
makes him
zero?
Okay, Dad.
No, it doesn't make him
Don't make-
okay dad. It doesn't. I'm not
At the-
taking
at
up.
the
I'm not
minimum-
advocating.
Listen.
I'm asking at the end
At
of the day.
minimum, it make him a bad dad.
Now let me put this in framework. When I
If
say
that's
come
all
over
he's
to
gonna
his
be-
house, he lives with his mom. Okay,
Okay.
he lives with his mom. His mom don't live with him.
Okay.
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 So grandmama is really who's interacting with the children. He's
not
in his
there.
room
He's in
kicking
his
it.
room. He's doing
Right.
it.
It's just I'm in the space with dad. I'm in the house with dad. That's it. Anytime that you would pick a kid up from school, that's great, cool. You
Mhm.
picked your kid up from school. That's it. That's a bare minimum quality. And I don't think that justifies you as a good dad.
Mhm.
No. You got Uber drivers that'll pick your gas up all day long. Don't make them a good driver. They can just get you to point A to point B. That's what he did.
Mhm.
That's it. Anything else outside of that, of what I would say are good father attributes, is gone. It's null and void. He doesn't commit to anything. He's false promises.
We're gonna come back in just a second and talk about what you just said. What did you just say? Good father qualities?
Yeah.
That's what you said? Oh, we're gonna talk about that when we come back. We'll be back in a second. Yep.
And we're back.
Yep. So I know we're about to go into our mothers are allowing fathers to have a voice and involvement in their child's lives. I know that's our second topic, which I got a whole lot to say about that. But what are some good father qualities from a woman's perspective?
I'm actually going from a child's perspective.
Well, I'm
No.
saying woman from perspective only from because of
Right,
opposite
yeah.
sex.
But I feel like a lot of times what would be great at the point that you have a child that's able to reason is to ask your children, what do you expect from me? Just as you would do any relationships, anybody in a job interview, treat it as such.
Mhm.
So as a woman who had a present stepfather and father in her life,
Okay.
what I would say their positive and good characteristics were that made them good fathers in my life is the fact that if I call, they showing up. If I'm calling them to do something strange, if I'm calling them just to vent, if I'm calling them because I need a couple of dollars, like they're present. They show up, and that for me was enough. It doesn't have to be lavish or extravagant or anything for me, but that was just like, okay, he's a good dude. He's a good man in general, because when it matters, I know dad's gonna be there. I thought their reliability was a big part of that. It was something about getting them to listen and realizing that they actively are listening to me. I kind of expected that from my mom because we're women. So I know my mom's gonna listen. Like,
Mhm.
and a lot of women probably don't know how to listen, but I felt like that was a given that my mom would listen because that's the standard she put.
Mhm.
That's not necessarily the standard that my dad's placed with me.
Mhm.
So at the point that I was now communicating to them feelings and emotions, they actively listened without me having to turn their arm to do so.
Mhm.
They gave me safe spaces to be a woman, and it wasn't a lot of toxicity within their masculinity of saying, you a little girl, do this, or you a little girl, do that. It was like, why do you feel that way, Puddin'? Why are you acting like this? What's going on with you? And I felt like that grace they gave me spoke volumes.
Mhm.
So I think fathers who are reliable, are good listeners, and just follow through, like that was just enough.
Mhm.
For me, it's very simple.
Okay.
My dad showed me everything: good work ethic, stability, kindness. He even told me how to comb my hair. So the presence was definitely necessary, but his efforts to wanting to be a good
That's a
grandfather.
good word. Effort.
He wanted to be a good grandfather, and he sat there and he things that he didn't know. He asked me questions. How you braid this then? Or he'll do this part of the hair, and I finished it. Stuff like that. But he was he
Active.
wanted he was active, and
The effort.
In that safe space, he created everything. He created a space where I can come tell him what I wanted. So if I needed him to train me, I can go tell him I want to look like this. Or I want to try to track next year. Can we do this now? And he'll jump right into action and do whatever I wanted. It didn't matter what the hell I came in with. I want him to go build a pond backside. He gonna go build a pond backside. Like,
I think it's interesting that I feel like it's interesting that everybody is saying effort. The one thing that they don't do for a bad father is the one thing that means the most. For me, it was my grandfather.
mhm.
Because my dad, I treat him like a homeboy. Like,
Yeah.
I talk to him when I talk to you, it's cool, but you didn't have effort. But my papa, that's why I remember picking me up in elementary school.
Mhm.
He used to, even through high school, he gave me he would give me like change in Winston boxes.
Mhm.
Like, so I'm 5, 10, 15 at the counter. I want some chips. But it was his effort. I never needed much.
Mhm.
And my papa was one of them, like, it wasn't no feelings. Like, you couldn't talk about your feelings with him. He didn't care.
Mhm.
But it was just that, like, he picked me up. We go to the Chinese spot, go get some chicken. We go to the house. He dropped me off. He go back to work. And this was on his ship. I was not supposed to be in his work truck at all. But it was just that effort that he put forward. I don't think we ever asked for much from him.
And maybe they came from experience because we was both kind of taken care of by a grandparent.
But see, he wasn't a good father, though.
I don't think my
That's the
papa
crazy
was
part.
a great father to my dad and my uncle because he was a Marine at the time. He was deployed majority of them growing up. But the moment my mama got pregnant,
Mhm.
he said, I got to retire because I want to be there I want to be there for her. And that's what he wanted. He just wanted to be a little girl, and he ended up with 2 knucklehead boys. And then he went off to work. But at the point that he was raising me, he wanted to be there when I went to sleep. He wanted to be there when I woke up.
So specifically for this generation, I would say the effort. I feel like it's limited excuses for this generation of millennials and lower and upper. Like, I just feel like at this point, because I consider the fact of what your grandfather's generation was, what my parents' generation of father figures that they had, and most of the time the roles were very much so ironed out. Man go take care of outside of the house, and women take care of the inside of the house. So for them, an example of a good father was that, like, being stable.
Mm-hmm.
I realized when you said stability in it, that neither one of my dads were stable men, like stability wise. They just knew how to go get it when they needed to.
Mm-hmm.
And that still was okay because the effort was what we needed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when we look at what good fathers are now to us is more so that presence and that effort of having relationships versus having environment
Yeah, yeah,
figured out.
yeah. Now they just need you to be present.
Yeah,
So
we need dad to be mom.
That
too.
is the effort for
Yes,
a lot
sir.
of people.
So grandfathers, it's safe to say, for a lot of people, grandfathers didn't do great with their kids. But because they realized that they didn't do great with their kids, they made up for it with their grandkids.
Mhm.
It's safe to say.
A lot of parents think that way.
Yeah,
Right.
like,
Like, I fuck
mothers
up
in
with
this
my-
generation
Yeah.
think that. Mothers this generation feel like they can just correct their wrongdoings with their kids, with their grandchildren.
No,
I feel
you
like
don't correct us, but I get it.
Right.
I get it. You don't correct us. When I think about a good father, I didn't have an example of that. So mine, I'm really learning as I go. So the past 11, soon to be 12 years of my life, you know, since my daughter should be 12 this year, I'll just learn as I go. And one thing I've learned that's probably spoke volumes to me personally is that every relationship is different. With Destiny is different, with Dion is different, with Kyla is different, because they all need something different. And they all pick and choose, you know, how daddy is present in their life. They're mature enough, even at the age of 4, all the way up to the age of 11, to understand what they need. My job is to give them what they need from me.
Yeah.
Whether that's support, whether that's go do something fun, whether that's just spending time, whether it's taking time out of my schedule to do something that they got going on, or I guess it is the effort and the presence and the want to. Because I'm gonna tell you something about kids. Kids know when you don't want to. Eventually they'll stop asking if they feel like you just don't want to.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So it actually has to be something that you want to do. Fathers have a very delicate role with daughters. That daughter is either going to grow up wanting somebody just like you, or she's going to grow up wanting something total opposite of you.
Mhm.
And that's really, honestly and truthfully, on the man's choice. Like on the man. It's all the way on the man. Because if she grow up on something opposite of you, bro, it's probably because you didn't do something right. It's 99.9% you didn't do something right. So that's the reason why she wants something opposite of you. If she wants something just like you, it's probably because you did something right. That's just the harsh reality of what it is. With boys, on the other hand, he either wants to be completely nothing like you, or he wants to be just like you.
Mhm. I can agree with that.
It's simple with kids. I've learned this all as I go. It is the easiest thing I could give my kids is time. The absolute easiest thing. It is so easy to give them time. But in the process of time, your job as a man is to teach them something. That is your number one job. Not the effort, not the time, just to teach. That's it. But in order to teach, you got to give time and effort. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So even though my number one job is to teach, I can't teach without time and effort. That takes that. So the mother's job, not completely, but the majority of her job, especially at the beginning, is nurturing. It's nurturing. It is equipping. It is also teaching. It is also those things that a lot of times men don't even be involved in. I can't tell you how many men that I know that probably didn't even change their kids' diapers. That's a red flag for me. Shit, I still change diapers now. So it doesn't bother me. You know what I'm saying? So there's men, grandfathers, probably never changed a pamper.
Right.
Never tried. Probably never put their kid in a car seat. Probably never put their kid in a chair to feed them the little Gerber's things.
Mhm.
So, you know, I cherished all of those activities. Making a bottle, warming a bottle up, feeding them the ball. You see, I cherished all of those moments because I can sit back and see now that, yeah, daddy did that. Daddy did that. Daddy did that. I feel like I'm equipped.
Yeah.
Probably not 24/7, but I'm equipped to take care of a kid. So wholeheartedly, I'm equipped to do it. I can do everything. Taking the doctor's appointments, taking dentist appointments, taking to the emergency room, I done it all.
Yes.
There are some fathers that feel like there's some areas in their life that they don't have to do. But in order to be a great father, in my opinion, you got to do it all. You got to do it all. You got to do it all. If you don't do it all, I've tried combing Destiny hair. I've done all of that. I've done it all. But the reality of it is that I have those moments to cherish because I know I tried. I might not have completed the task, but I tried. The effort is the try, the effort. Those two words is what determines, honestly and truthfully, how great of a father you are. Honestly and truthfully, also with Father's Day coming up, you know how great of a father you are if you celebrate it. Truthfully. Yes, I get it. It's just one day. Yes, just like mother should be celebrated every day, father should be too. I absolutely understand that. But on Father's Day, if you're celebrated, that tells a lot. It tells that you're appreciated, and not just by your kids, but by the mother of your kids, by the family members. That tells kind of a synopsis of, okay, I ain't perfect, but I'm doing a lot of shit right. And every day that goes by, you're supposed to be learning how to treat your kids, learning how to be a better father, learning how to make things right, learning how to deal with emotions from a little girl, learning how to deal with emotions from a little boy, and so on and so on. It's a learning experience. You're going to die learning when it comes to your kids. You're going to leave this earth still learning. And I think when I think of fathers that are in their kids' life, and when I think of fathers that are not in their kids' life, the ones that are not in their kids' life are missing out on a true gem, because the process, parenting is the one thing in life where I actually enjoy the process. I didn't enjoy the process in my career. I didn't enjoy the process in a relationship. I don't enjoy the processes of just life issues. I don't enjoy none of that shit. I enjoy the process of being a father. The good, the bad, the ugly, I enjoy it because I also get an opportunity to reflect and see that, hey, and I look back on my life and I'm like, I ain't miss nothing. I ain't miss a beat. I ain't miss a doctor's appointment. I ain't miss a birthday. I ain't miss a Christmas. I ain't miss Thanksgiving. I ain't miss a just cuz. I ain't miss a awards day. I ain't miss nothing. You do your best because your best is required for your children. It has nothing to do with the mother. It has nothing. I think that's the part we'll get into, that fathers got to let that shit go. But it has nothing to do with the mother. It has nothing to do with the relationship that y'all had. None of that shit matters. Nothing matters to me except my kid. Now, if you're getting in the way of that, then now we got a problem. But nothing else matters. That kid and what that kid needs and what that kid desires is everything to me. And if you get in the way of that, then that's where the issue comes. But don't get in the way of me trying to be a great father, which goes into our point of our mothers allowing fathers to have a voice and involvement. Go ahead.
That was a very foreign concept to me until I actually got in the world and realized how shitty women can be with using their children as a pawn. That was a very new experience. And my dad was only in the household with me until I was 5, before my mom and dad divorced or separated. And then my stepfather didn't come in until I was 11.
Okay.
So my mom became a co-parent with my dad. And my dad was great. My dad wined and dined me before I could pronounce certain words. I was having luxurious moments with him where he was teaching me the finer things in life. So I actually got that experience from him. And it kind of piggyback on what you're saying, that although I'm with a woman, a lot of her characteristics and attributes are so similar to my dad. And it just made me realize what role did my mom have in allowing him to do that. So my dad was on child support. And at some point in time, my mom noticed that like I was getting like left on the porch. That's what I like to call it. But
Mhm.
like saying that he was gonna come through and he
Indeed.
doesn't show up.
Mhm.
And so when my mom like kind of had this discussion with him and me, because my mom was not one of those, I'm gonna keep you out of it. Like, no, I had a say in probably everything, everything I wanted to do in my life. So she basically explained to me what was going on because my dad stopped showing up because how I'm gonna show up and take my baby out if I'm also behind on my child support, like how that's gonna work. She took him off of it and was like, just spend your time with her because that's going to mean more to her than that. So he still have rears from the time that he was on and wasn't paying, but she did that maybe when I was like 13 years old.
Mhm.
And she was just like, no, if this is your issue or why you're not coming to pick her up and I'm seeing her heartbreak, then we need to take
Come
this.
get my baby.
Yeah,
Right,
keep the
right,
money,
right.
come get your child. And he did. He kept his money and started coming
Right.
get his child. So my mom never dictated when he could pick me up or when not to. Like my mama gave me a cell phone very early on so I could have free communication with him. She was like, here, so you don't got to go through your daddy ain't got to go through me to talk to you. Here,
Mhm.
I don't want to talk to him. You talk to him. Like she was very clear about that. So I never experienced the you can't see your child, you can't come to this or don't show up. Like even when my dad only had got one girlfriend while I was a child ever. And my mom was like, if Pudding comes home, and I talked about this lady a lot because this lady was like loaded, right? I was like, she got a fun Corvette. I was just like amazed by this woman doing it
Mhm.
because my mom always struggled. So when I would come talk about it, my mom didn't come if I know it or not, but at that moment of time, my mama didn't come with a jealous bone in her body. That's what it felt like.
Mhm.
She was like, if this is a woman that you like to spend time with, and this is a woman that your dad is serious about, Larry, can I meet her?
Mhm.
And my dad was like, yeah. And they came over to the house. My mama shook her hand, was like, my daughter loves you. I just wanted to know who she was spending so much time with because I would actually just stay at Sharonda's house while daddy go to work. Because my mom was like, well, he's working. I'm like, I'm gonna just kick it with Sharonda. But I'm like, yeah, you can go kick it with Sharonda, but who is Sharonda? You know? So that whole experience was healthy. And it wasn't a man that my mom had in her life that didn't get introduced to my dad. Now, my dad didn't like none of her niggas.
Mhm.
Never liked none of her niggas. he never did, but he never came left with it neither. It was just like, put in, let me know if you need me to pull up. So he never became disrespectful about it, but he was very clear with me, like, I don't like that nigga. And that was his exact words. So I never experienced that issue when it came to like co-parenting. And it was a point in time when my stepfather did correct me in front of my dad. My dad let it happen because he was like, that man isn't wrong. He's in the house with you. He know more things than I know that's going on with you.
And if it's right, it's right.
It's right. It's right. So I just had, I would say that part of it was so healthy that the point when I was like, oh, bitches is holding their baby fathers.
Like, why would they do that?
Why would they do that? Like, why would you do that? Why? Like, you don't want the help? Like, you don't want the break? My mama needed a break from me. I had a smart ass mouth.
Mhm.
She'll come get your daughter if I ring her neck. Like, he like, I'm on the way. You know, you ain't supposed to be telling your mama like that. Like, it was those type of things that would happen.
It's there's a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings that go with having a kid and raising a kid. And now even just listening to you talk, only word that I can get out of it is grace. Because you have to be able to gracefully be able to see your kid with another woman, see your kid with another man.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's grace. That's allowing grace. The reason why I think that happens so much right now is because of two things. One, a lot of mothers just want to have control. They just want to have that say so in every single thing that goes on in their child's life until they get that rude awakening and realize that they won't later on in life, but that's a whole nother story. And the other reason is because of the relationship. However you and her ended, or however you and her happened or didn't happen, or however that happened, that still lingers with that individual. And sometimes in life, it'll linger for a long time. And then sometimes in life, they finally come to their senses and realize that, hey, it ain't about who he with, it ain't about who I'm with. It's just about our kids having the best. Now, what women have to understand sometimes is that, hey, life didn't stop because y'all had a kid together. That man gonna date, he gonna have women, just like if you might date and you're gonna have men. That's just a part of the life. Now you get the opportunity to pick and choose who you allow around your kid. That is a choice. You don't let everybody around your kid. You feel what I'm saying? But the reality of it is that people have to understand that life goes on. Now, the question is how much do you trust that man, or how much do you trust that woman to make the right decisions about who they have around your children? That ain't got nothing to do with you though. You just got to trust that they do. The involvement part really bothers me because we had a kid together. Like R. Kelly said, we went half on this baby. We went half on this. So why is it when a baby is born, it ain't half no more? It's like I get to say so and I get to dictate how and everything that's going on. But we went half on this baby. The system has a lot of women thinking this custodial and non-custodial thing is a thing. That ain't shit. If I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do, I have just as many responsibilities in this kid life just as you do. The only difference is that the kid might be staying with you full time. That's the only difference. But if I'm on child support and I'm doing everything that I said I was supposed to do and doing everything that is asked of me to do, then why don't I have just as equal a right of say so as you do? And even if I wasn't doing everything that I was supposed to do or doing everything that I should do, I still just have this equal right. I had this baby with you. We had this baby together. I'm not absent. I might not be doing everything, but I ain't absent.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? I have just as much as right as you do. So now in this generational world we're living in, women are dictating, I'll let you see your son or your daughter if you do this. What the fuck? They're going to let me see my son and my daughter because I want to see my son or my daughter. Not because if I do this, like it's a fucking reward. This kid ain't no trophy where I can just pick it up and go because you want me to do it or because you're okay with that. The reality of it is that it's still my child at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You shouldn't deprive. This is why a lot of men just say fuck it, because the system is against him. He can't go to court and say she ain't letting me see my kid.
He can.
He could, but you know how much of a fight it is and how much money it takes, and what if that man doesn't? That's a whole nother topic and a whole nother day. But
in the place that we in today, the system do penalize the man for lots of things when it comes to the kid, but that's because they didn't know that they can get in front of that same ball that she went in front of. If he went to go put himself on child support before she did, it would be different. If he went and did the same shit she do, record them,
But we're talking about
gather evidence,
right? But we're talking about in a regular
situation.
In a regular situation, it shouldn't be that
bad. The first thing you do is go to the
And
go to the courthouse and
get
your things aligned, because the pawn.
I don't think a man has to go put himself on child support.
The courthouse
is
going to use the baby as a pawn. He don't give a. They don't care which parent they come out.
No, they want the money.
They just want the system.
Yeah, the system just want the money.
So, from my experience, the last 4 years of dealing with some different type of dudes.
Yeah.
Every last one of them went down there and put themselves on child support, and it's 3 times cheaper than what his other baby mom putting him on child support for, and he gets to dictate when he had the baby, how he had the baby, and now she has to fall. You get what I'm saying?
And
I have 4 clients that did that, and 2 of them put her on child support, and it was granted.
And not just child support. I know 2 guys who are actually, one is currently fighting and one is about to fight for full custody for their child.
You got to do what you got to do. It may be foreign, it may be hard, it may even take some money. But guess what? A solution will be resolved, and that court is going to grant that baby to whomever is more feasible
Not
and
true.
more reliable.
Every system is different. And every situation is
It's your
different.
opinion, but I've seen these
I
men
know-
work.
I know men at work. And they still working and they still ain't got
You
nothing.
got to resolve.
Ain't got a
Do
result.
something else.
Well,
You
this
want your baby? You want to
they're
provide a
fighting,
better
but
life
I'm
for
not
your
going
baby?
to. I'm not
That's
going
right.
to. I'm not going to say that. Man, say, let me tell you.
They
I
right.
know somebody head like we close. This man been fighting for his child for a long time, years, and his kid now is in Oklahoma and not even supposed to be there. So, and still has not gotten his child yet. And they've already went to the court. They've already subpoenaed her. It's like, this is a process because now she's crossed state lines. So
she technically kidnapped the child.
in a sense, but they're not going to say that.
Like,
He can.
He
No,
can say
they're not going.
But
no,
that's
no,
the
no.
game you play.
I'm
No,
looking for my kid. My
listen
kid
to
has
me.
been kidnapped.
Listen to me. They're not going. Law is not going to say that because she's actually the custodial parent at the moment. And they just granted him to where the roles can switch. But now she can't be found, quote unquote, because this happened here. They know where she's at. But now it becomes a state line issue because now all of this happened in
So
Texas.
a warrant will be issued for
So
her
it won't be issued for arrest, but the process, Oklahoma don't give a fuck because it ain't they issue. You understand what I'm
He
saying?
can file a claim in Oklahoma and make it.
He can.
Like,
Dude, those
it's
things.
But I know it takes time, and they're
If
not.
those
quick
things
fixes.
take time, and Oklahoma ain't gonna budge unless
Does-
there's a whole lot of money got to be spewed out. Just be for real. A lot of money got to be spewed out. They want that bread. So the reality of it is, and this man has a lawyer. This man is spending thousands of dollars every time he go to court, and his well done ran dry. And I understand it. It's a fight that he shouldn't have to fight, but it shouldn't even got to this point because she wasn't supposed to leave. She left. If he left, nigga, they had a whole fucking SWAT team after him if it was him, because he's a man. But because it was a woman, she left, and it was like, no, they ain't give a fuck. He had to go to court 3 more times. She never showed up. So this is thousands of dollars he got to pay every time he go to court just for her not to show. At some point in time, man, it's like, whoa, this man ain't rich. This man ain't building nothing out his ass. It's just more so, it's a regular old guy trying to work hard and just trying to provide a better life for his children. But at some point in time, it's like, all right, hold on. Now, because I got another daughter too over here, and I'm recently married over here. I gotta still provide, and I still gotta do this, and I still gotta do this, and still try to fight for my other daughter. That becomes a lot.
Yeah.
That becomes a lot on a person. Man or woman, becomes a lot.
How does the court deem who's going to be the primary or?
Let me be honest with you, Black. Let me be honest with you before we go to break. I've been through that twice. All right.
And they got to have a
Never.
reason.
No. Never have I ever.
How does it exclude
I
the
don't know.
co-parent? Like what has to happen for it to skip?
Let me be transparent with you. The court system automatically deems the woman the custodial parent.
They are the default parent.
Yes. Unless she's defaulted or not seen fit, no matter what, she's going to be considered the custodial
They
parent.
skip co-parent
starts
because
at
So
birth.
listen,
in court.
no. So listen, you're still co-parent. But the custodial parent is the one that's considered whoever that kid stays with. Okay? 90% of the time, that's going to be the woman.
Now what
So they
happens?
deem her custodial parent. They deem you non-custodial parent. Only way that can switch is if she shows herself unfit. How many times in this it happens, but it doesn't happen much. How many times do a court system really sees a woman as unfit? And if they do, it is a long, long process. I know from experience. It is very hard to deem a woman unfit. Very, very hard. So
But easy to deem a man? How? What has
He's
to be
never
done?
have to be deemed.
He never had to be
unfit.
deemed. He
He's
never
just
gets the
automatically-
chance.
Yeah.
he never gets the chance.
I just,
Woman is the default setting.
Woman is automatic.
It's the same thing at the hospital.
At the hospital, if you go, peep this. She's about to, I know where she's going. At the hospital, when that woman has that baby, they ain't even talking to that nigga, whether they married or not. They talking to the woman and the woman only. They don't want to talk to you. They don't give a damn about you. They don't even change the baby last name until that baby about to get ready to go.
Yep.
My son last name was Dabs the whole time he was in the hospital, and he was in the hospital for over 4 months. You understand what I'm saying? So you don't get a say-so. That's the society part that you're talking about. On the other side, as a society, as a court and a government system, a man has no say-so when it comes to his child. From the time that child gets out of the womb, he has no say-so at all. He is really up under the jury of that woman.
So is that a reason for the men to be making the decisions they're making?
I do think sometimes that is the reason, not a crutch. But I do believe sometimes, okay, I use my own situation as an example before we go to break. My situation was a very unique situation, but I had no say-so. My last situation, I was taken off the visitor list. I don't know how that happened. I wasn't able to see my son while I was in the hospital for a short period of time, and that was just what it was. I had no say-so.
And so that made you feel like what?
I could have gave up. Shit, I did for about a month. I said, fuck it. I can't. This is too draining for me. It's too emotionally draining. I needed that month to step back and kind of just get myself together and say, how could this even happen to me? I ain't did nothing but try to be there for my kid. But for some men, they don't take that step back. They just say, fuck this. I'm done. I ain't signing no birth certificate. I ain't doing none of this shit. Here's the weird part. I signed the birth certificate. They still wouldn't let me in. This is the system. Some of this stuff that we go through, a man can't do anything about. Nothing. He just got to fight. All right, we'll go to break. We'll be right back.
Be right back.
Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today.
see, I don't understand how you can want the help but dictate when you want the help.
Mm-hmm.
And
Help.
how you want the help.
Yeah, and how you want the help.
Mm-hmm.
Your own child, the man is on child support.
Mm-hmm.
He paying. Still picking his kid up. Still spending time with his kid. Still doing what he's supposed to. Still asking you anything else they need. And it's still not enough.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where I start having to be at peace with who I am as a man, who I am as an individual, who I am as a father. I had to start being at peace with stuff because I learned that, Dion, no matter what you do, it's never going to be enough in their eyes. Don't look at them as the judgment part of it. Look at the situation that we're in. You see what I'm saying? And the situation that we're in is that you're doing the best you can with the cards that you're dealt.
Mhm.
It's just gonna have to be it. You cannot, as a man, put yourself in a position to where you're mentally dealing with she's making you feel like you're not enough. You are enough. You are doing the best you can with what you got.
Mhm.
If you know that you're doing that without a shadow of a doubt, don't let that woman make you feel any different because she wants something more and you're not able to do it.
Mhm.
If you're doing all of the things that you're supposed to do, then that's all you can do. It is what it is. And I think a lot of times that puts men up under the microscope too, is because they're being, I've had it told to me, or, and I'm sure other men have too, that you think this is enough. Well, that's what the court told me to do. That's what you wanted. So yeah, it is enough. You feel what I'm saying?
Like resentment because you
right.
put the laws in.
Yeah, you put them in. I'm playing it. I'm playing the cards I was dealt. I'm doing what I was supposed to do. What you gonna do? Take me back and say you need more? Go ahead. Because I can't miss something I ain't never have anyway. It's a mindset. You have to learn how to understand that it's not just about, it's about nothing but the upkeep and the raising of my children.
Mhm.
That money shit don't mean nothing to me. How you think of me don't mean shit to me. Whether you think I'm a good father or not don't mean shit to me. The only people's opinion that's matter, and people in this room have heard me say it, the only people in this world that opinion matters to me is that 11-year-old, that 9-year-old, and that 4-year-old. Everybody else kiss my ass.
Mhm.
I mean that from the depths of my soul, because their opinion doesn't mean nothing to me. These kids, their opinion does.
Mhm.
And once, as a man, once you figure that out, and once you realize that them kids, that's all that matter, the hell with what they talking about. The hell with what they talking about. I ain't fighting for nothing that I know I'm already winning in.
Mhm.
You trying to make me, you trying to get me to bite the bait. I don't need to bite no bait. I'm good. I'm gonna let you be angry by your damn self. Because I ain't angry. These kids happy. They got everything they need. And if they don't have everything they need, it's because you didn't tell me they needed something. Straight up.
Yeah.
It ain't because I didn't go get it. It's a lot. When you start talking about fathers, and I'm gonna get to the topic of how we can do better. I promise you I'm gonna roll right into it. But when you start talking about fathers, with mothers, they're automatically from the day, like this shit is weird to me, and I'm not knocking it because I'm with it. But from the day that they get pregnant, they're deemed a great mother. A woman is deemed a great mother no matter what. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like society got us thinking that no, peep this, hear me out. For the most part, a woman is deemed a great mother for the most part. She starts out, she gets, basically what I'm saying is she get 100% starting out. You understand what I'm saying? And then whatever she does, of course, she get it, that 100% taken down. With a man, he starts out at 0%. And he gotta earn his stripes.
I think it's the opposite.
You feel what I'm saying?
It's-
Not the
I think
opposite.
the
It's definitely
mentality
not the
of-
opposite.
I was gonna
It's
say-
the mentality of the option. She has to be that mother regardless if she fucking figure it out or not. Regardless if she want to or not. She got to push out a baby or have an abortion. Today, you gotta push out a baby. He got an option. Whether it's right or not, society has gave him an option. Do I want to be here or no? So you gotta show up in order to start your stripes. She has to grow a baby in her stomach to start her stripes. That's
is
my
that-
perception.
I get
of
it. I can understand that,
I
but
get
but is
what
that
you're
really
saying.
just?
I don't think society deems her as a great mother. I just think she's
You a
automatically
mother.
deemed as a mother.
You,
Yeah.
you're deemed
You're
a
not-
mother at
You
that
don't
point.
have a
You-
greatness
the man
level.
has
You
to
just,
show
she's
up.
a
I think
mom
she's-
immediately.
I think
you
she's
gotta
deemed.
tell people, show up.
I think she's
be
deemed.
seen, all this shit
I
with
think
the baby
she's
for people like,
deemed
oh, that's his
in her
baby.
circle as all they're doing is speaking positive vibes to her. She's gonna be great. She's gonna do this. She's gonna do that. And that's fine. That's great. That's what you're supposed to do. But what I'm saying is that she ain't gotta earn shit. The minute that baby is in the womb and that baby grow in the room, they automatically give her stripes right away. But she ain't did no type of parenting other than hold that baby in her womb. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Automatically, you a mother
But-
now. You have
I'm not. Hold on. Just give me
Okay,
1
sir.
second. I'm not knocking it. I don't care. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that father shouldn't have to start out at zero.
Y'all not doing shit. I'm just gonna be honest.
Man, say nigga
Listen,
doing a lot,
You can
man.
be president.
I'm not
but-
speaking on like you're not going to the doctor's visits. You're not doing this. You're not doing that.
Y'all
Like,
don't think
both
that
of y'all-
support shit? That shit
No,
hard.
I do. Listen, I'm not taking away from none of that. I'm talking about why women are given so much grace with pregnancy. It's so much risk with pregnancy. And when you say things like she's just holding a baby, she's going through a whole lot of other
This
shit.
baby finna dislocate.
But wait,
I don't mean
Wait,
no
wait.
disrespect when I say
I
that,
don't
but
think
what
it's coming from a disrespectful space, but it's a space that needs to be talked about because a lot of men will take it to a disrespectful space.
understood.
She's doing more than babysitting your bald-headed ass children. She's doing a whole lot more than that.
Stop. Pause.
She
You
is
did say your children. Your children.
your
Right?
children.
Okay, so I just wanted to get clarification on that because a lot of
It's
women,
yours.
for some reason, a lot of women think that man ain't had nothing to do with that. No, he
No,
has.
no.
He starts
had
that seed.
100%
Okay.
effort.
And that's what he should be
I'm
100%.
He did 100% effort.
But the thing is, he did. And then back to what you said earlier is they're not taking pride in that. Because when a woman says, oh, we're pregnant, some niggas be like, we? Yeah, nigga, we pregnant. I'm holding a nigga, but we
Hey,
are pregnant.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
there are
that,
men who will be like, you ain't pregnant, you pregnant. Like,
ask
what?
my
Oh,
kids'
that's
mom
so
if I missed the
immature.
doctor's appointment.
Well,
I ain't never
but
missed
I'm
one.
not talking about any of the
Yeah.
external things that occurs. I'm talking about why women are given so much grace during their pregnancy because they're doing a bulk of the work of getting y'all's children,
Yeah.
you and her, you and him,
Mhm.
getting the child here
Mhm.
safely. And it does take a whole lot of impact and wear and tear on it,
Mhm.
on that woman's body,
Absolutely,
where you're not experiencing that.
absolutely.
It's great that you're going to the doctor's appointment. She has to go to the doctor's appointment. You better go to the damn doctor's appointment because y'all did this together. But I think that's why it starts out at looking like women are at this 100% mark because it's like, yeah, you're doing good because mentally you probably are going through something. I told Zari every day, you got hijacked by an alien. Your body is not yours now,
Yeah, true.
you know? So I'm like, you stolen right now. I'm like, your ass hungry because you ain't eating. Now I'm eating all.
So I'm definitely
It's
not,
stuff.
I'm definitely not saying that it doesn't matter. Man, I value all that. I've said this in my own gym publicly that every man should get a woman that has his child something for Mother's Day just because she risked her life.
Mhm.
I've never not said that. Y'all have heard me say that. But what I am saying is that y'all can't speak from the man's perspective.
No.
From a man's perspective, the majority of what we deal with is up here. Whether it's society, whether it's race, whether it's just being a black man in America, all of those things, a lot of the shit that we deal with is mental. All right. All I'm saying is that to be able to support a woman through that time, which you're supposed to do, by the way, but to be able to support a woman through those 9 months is very, very difficult. Yes, you're supposed to do it. But I don't think, I said this when my youngest son was born. Everybody was making sure that she was good and everything, and I was too. But some of the things that people were asking me to do and people wanted me to do in that moment was fucking insane. Because first of all, this is my first experience having a kid so early, dealing with a premature kid and dealing with just the fact that, hey, he don't get to go home with us. You see what I'm saying? Oh, by the way, we gotta go every day to this hospital to go see him while somebody else take care of him. I get it. she's going through a lot, and I know
Y'all are
mentally,
going through a lot.
but we are going through a lot.
Yes.
Nobody considered me,
And that was a great injustice to you.
and
You
that's
should have
fucked
been.
up because,
Yes.
but that's the way society got it, and then people are just so caught up. I don't think, and I'm not stretching this shit. I'm being 100% honest. I'm thinking in that 100 and some days that my son was in that hospital, I don't think not one person, not even people on my side, asked me, was I ever okay? My son was born December 26th. The day he was born, 5 days before that, I had a daughter that had a birthday party. I had to go to her birthday party. Then we had a girl thought he was going to come. I had to shoot from Waxahachie all the way back to Baylor. Had to go back. Oh, it was a false alarm. Then Christmas came. Have Christmas with my other kids. Then leave there. I thought it was another false alarm. Go all the way back to Baylor again. Come all the way back. Get my kids. Take them up there. Go back. Boom. Next day she has the baby. Nobody asked me not one time how I was doing. I'm not trying to take from what she's going through. But
Absolutely.
I'm also, people have to consider the man carries some stuff.
Y'all do.
And he's supposed to say, goes back to what we've been saying for years, he's just supposed to suck it up. Here's the
Yeah.
reason why a lot of men suck it up now. Is because you never asked us how we fucking doing anyway.
A lot of
feel
men
like you
don't
need
get
a-
Oh.
it.
Hold on, guys. Would you have been able to communicate that without the question?
No, in that moment, no, I couldn't communicate that because the reality of it is, it was already shown to me that, nigga, you just gotta suck this shit up. It ain't about you right now.
I have a better question.
So I couldn't have said, hey, I'm not doing too well right now. Y'all give me a moment. I ain't have a moment of safe space to say that. You understand what I'm saying? I had to be strong for myself, be strong for her, be strong for my son, and just keep it going. You see what I'm
Would
saying?
you have, if Rayshawn or Destiny was premature, would you have had that same experience with your first wife's family? Yay or nay? Just keep it simple with that.
No, because it would have just been me and her.
Okay.
It would have just been me and her there. And also, hey, to be honest, she was experienced. She has an older son.
Right.
So I was, for a lot of Destiny's pregnancy, I was following her lead.
Right.
She was experienced. So
So
she taught me.
the point that
You know
I'm
what I
getting to is kind of what my original point was, that we missed when I say it's now 100% the men's fault, is that these women show these red flags and they family show these red flags.
Mhm.
Just as women see the
Mhm.
red flags and men that can't commit, they
I
not going to
seen
be good fathers, you know? Not saying they're not going to be a good mom. I'm just
Mhm.
saying that this experience is going to be fucked up and trying. And you see those, right? You have to acknowledge those before
Absolutely.
you bring a child in the world.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of
yourself and your partner,
Right.
like, hey, we kind of toxic.
Yeah.
You know,
It's gonna be a
and
no.
those are just lessons
Puppy.
that are learned,
Absolutely.
because it's not like you got two kids with this same person. You
Absolutely.
got one kid. So decisions were made and lessons was learned.
Yeah.
What I don't get is the fact that you were not asked at any point of time, how's your mental health doing and were you okay?
Black people don't do that. You know that.
Black people do that. Black people do that.
With healthy family.
With
dynamics.
healthy, yes. Because
If I had y'all there, I probably
You would have been
asked
asked if you were okay.
You know,
we would have been everywhere you were. We meet
But-
you at the hospital while you pulling up. You would have had
My mom
a
had
space.
just had surgery at that point, so she wasn't really moving around like that. I think she only came to
Yeah.
the hospital one time, so it was a lot.
But that's an example that I want to set, and I feel like that's an example that all women should start setting. It's just checking in on Black men and their mental health, because it is a segment that you all don't get a lot of grace for, or that y'all identify in. It goes back to that Black people don't go to the doctor sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's still a doctor that you're going to see. Well, or even with or without degree, that is still something that's of you that needs to be checked on, nurtured, and treated correctly.
And I think that's why men run sometimes. Scared.
And I want to point something out too, though, something combined with what you just said and what you said earlier. You said when a woman first gets pregnant, her circle of friends is uplifting her. They know whether they've had kids or not. That's something that we're prepped for. This is going to be a trying time. It's going to be amazing, but it's going to be scary. Uplift, uplift, uplift. Men don't have that circle.
Mm-mm.
They don't.
When they homeboys get pregnant, damn, you fucked up.
You fucked up.
You got
wrong.
that whole
Like,
thing. Yeah, that's the
oh,
conversation.
man, that's gonna be your baby
And
mama.
I think
Like,
that leads into what the last
That's-
topic is of
that's
how do we uplift, and I feel like you start there. be that man in your circle. It's like, oh, you got her pregnant. Hey, bro, this is what's gonna happen. And be that person that check on your homeboy. You know he got a baby on the way.
Men,
You
when we
gotta
come,
change the narrative within your own
when
circle.
men come to a man, be like, yeah, man. I'm like, bro, you good? What's up? Man, such and such pregnant. And it's like, when I hear that,
What you think?
I hear the disgust in his voice, but I don't recall having disgust in my voice when I told people that my kid's mom was pregnant. I was excited. I was excited as fuck. Like my baby son's mom, we was taking pictures every month of her growth. You know, with my two oldest, it was a trying time. It was fun. I don't remember ever being stressed out or screwed up. I think the only thing I probably was stressed out about was maybe how I'm gonna provide for all these kids. But nevertheless, that's every man. But I was never stressed out about, okay, damn, I got another baby on the way. Like I was never like that. So when I hear men like that, I'm like, you're not starting this off right, buddy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and my mindset goes biblically. It's like, so a man thinks, so is he. So if you already think you're going to be a failure, you're probably going to be a failure, my brother. You're probably going to be a failure. And that's not a good look. But the reality of it is that how do you uplift? Like, pregnancy can sometimes be a selfish time, man, for both people.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really for both people. And I think the only time a lot of men get asked, they don't get asked how they feeling. They get asked, so how do you feel about this pregnancy? That's all they get asked. They don't get asked, so how are you feeling? It's just, so how are you feeling about this pregnancy? I'm not saying, I still don't think, and I hate to say this, fellas, but I still don't think that men would be transparent if a woman did ask how he was feeling. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day that they got to work on. But if you would have asked me in those moments how I was feeling, I'd have told you I'm scared as fuck because I don't know what to do next. But I'm here and I'm gonna push through. But to have a transparent moment, sometimes I might not say the right thing, but shit, I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. We in this thing together. It's not gonna always look perfect. It's not gonna be picture perfect. But I wish I could have a place where I can be transparent and say, yeah, I'm scared as fuck.
But that transparency should happen. You should have that safe space before that child comes.
Yeah.
Like if I was to bring a child into this world, I'm able to communicate when I'm scared because I tell my wife when I'm scared now
Mm-hmm.
about any stuff that I take in my life because those are the safe space we have given each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to the podcast that y'all have done in
Right,
the
right,
past of having those safe spaces. So it all ties together. If men have a safe space to begin with, at the point that you're bringing a new life in this world, that same safe space is there. How are you feeling? Or you can be able to just come and tell her without the question because you know this is a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I want to talk to you about what the fuck I'm feeling right now.
Right.
I'm a little scared up in here.
Right.
And I
Even
think
if it
she'll
was your
receive
fourth
that
child.
well.
Yeah.
You know?
Every experience is different. I
Every
can tell you that.
experience is different.
Every
I would
experience
hate
is
for you to go into that experience and be like, I've done this before, so it's like this. It
No,
may be
it's not
different
like
this
this.
time.
It's not
I
like
want you
that.
to take every experience as a new one because you the first time being a 4-time dad.
Mhm.
You know, so I wouldn't even let you do that. I'd be like, I probably would tell you to shut up
Yeah.
and
Every
let's
experience
see
is
let's see
every
what's about to happen.
Destiny was different from Rayshawn. Rayshawn was different from Cairo. Cairo was different from both of them. Like every situation has been different. Every experience was different. But support, not much.
So I feel like this, with society of what a lot of Black men's conversation are stemming from, I feel like they're still not asking the right questions. And a lot of time Black men don't ask the right questions.
We asking around.
We
Yeah.
ask around the block. So when
Yeah.
motherfuckers be like, you know, asking women what they bring to the table, say what the fuck you need
If that
instead
motherfucker
of
don't
asking
say
what
support,
you.
I'm gone anyway.
And it doesn't have to be support. You can come and lay out your expectations because that's what women do. Women don't ask men what they bring to the table. They're gonna tell you
Share
what
their
she expects while you're sitting at this table.
But I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, if you tell me what you expect and I feel like I can't bring that, I'm gonna tell you what shit I ain't the guy for you.
And it's not just, and that's exactly how it should be. Like everything should be, I don't want to say everything should be a checklist. And you figure out things as you converse and you go
Right.
through, your courting stages with a person. But during those courting stages is when you list out those expectations. When you asking questions like, what are you looking for? I've seen so many podcasts where men are being bashed for asking the question, what do you bring to the table? And not understanding why they're being bashed for it. And you're still not saying what you expect. You just, when they ask this question, they're like, oh, I can do that myself. I can do that for myself. I can do that for myself. Do you want a bitch at the table with you?
Yeah.
Is this
Straight
a
up.
table for one?
Straight
nigga?
up.
Like, and that's okay. If it is, then that should be your expectation. I have a table for one, and every now and then I like to invite you. It can be just that simple. And it should be no different when you're bringing in a new life. Because just because this is the restaurant y'all like to go to together, maybe this restaurant ain't children friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's understandable. I just don't think people give those spaces where you can have these conversations and you can actually prevent bad decisions. Not saying that children are bad decisions, but two people deciding to be parents together
Could be bad.
is a bad fucking decision,
Mhm.
especially when you're not equipped. And I'm not talking about being equipped as far as like, I know I can change this. I'm going to keep my baby alive and in a healthy state. You know, I mean, like you are going to give this child some fucking trauma that they're going to have to see a person
Somebody's
like
gonna
me
have to
talking
heal
to.
from you.
Somebody's gonna have to heal for you. And that's one
You
of my
should be a
biggest fears
parent.
of why I just feel like it's a no. Because I don't see how I'm going to be able to protect them from this world the way I want to, especially with being in a same-sex relationship at that point of us
Mhm.
bringing a child to the world.
Mhm.
It's already so many fucking strikes.
Right.
And if it's a black man, baby, black men can't help black men right now.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna have to be two black women doing something strange for this child. I'm not equipped
Mhm.
to do that. I'm not equipped to have that decision, and I don't want a child bad enough to fuck them up.
Right.
Because regardless of how great of a father I think my fathers were and how great of a mother I think my mother is, it's some fucking traumas that I had to heal through and work through to make those statements.
Mhm.
And it was a lot of accountability on their parts that they had to listen to for me to get to the point of where I'm at now. Say, yeah, I don't think they should not have had kids. I just think they should have had some more fucking understanding between the things and decisions
Understanding,
they made.
experience,
Right. And it's like y'all said, it doesn't come with a
Therapist.
blueprint,
No,
It does not at
gonna be
all.
perfect either.
but sometimes when you're in a relationship with a person, put the love to the side and be honest with yourself and be like, is love is enough for me to get through these tough times as parents. It took Black and I to have a real conversation and sit down with each other and be like, we will not raise children together well. We have some great ideas. They ain't gonna want for a fucking thing, but we'll be at each other's necks the whole time about philosophies and how we're gonna go about things and how we're gonna correct certain things. And which is knowing that it's not necessary because I chose this person. We chose each other. We talked about children years before we went into our marriage together. So this was already understanding, like, I'm pretty sure we will figure it out. We will figure it out and rise to the occasion of being great mothers and raise children together well. But it's
We
going to be a
probably do it.
figuring the fuck
You
out
like it?
stage.
Ooh.
Right. And
Ew.
we don't want to go through that trash ass shit. So it's like, just make a decision that works best for you. And I think,
and it's a good thing we don't get to have accidents,
right.
With heterosexual couples, y'all can wake up and we fucked up 2 days.
Well, you have to make
Yeah.
as a man, you still run that show. And I'm going into my closing
You
thoughts.
can have an accident.
No, that's what I'm saying. But as a man, you still run that show. And you still hold on. So you still run that show. Hold on, DJ. So here's the thing: you still run that show as a man. Here's the reality: heterosexual relationship as a man. This is why I don't understand how men take a back seat on a lot of shit. Your seed creates that child, right? As a man, you're the head of your relationship, right? It's like I don't understand how everything is first, but you want to take a back seat, or that you have to be forced to take a back seat. Either way, because a lot of times men take a back seat voluntarily, stupid motherfuckers. But the second thing is sometimes society make you take a back seat. But either way, you're taking a back seat to something that you should have been first on. My issue is that yes, in a heterosexual relationship, yeah, you can't have accidents. But the reality of it is, as a heterosexual man, let me just be very blunt and transparent. I ain't nothing to no woman that I ain't want to have no kid by.
Period.
So my 3 kids, if you want to be me 100% transparent, wasn't now one of them no accident.
Mhm.
Now, one of them I didn't plan for, but he wasn't no accident.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So the moral of the story is that I knew from the time I started doing that,
This is risky.
this is the possibility that this is going to transpire.
Yes.
And moral of the story is it did. So that's why when you tell me that we pregnant, I'm like, all right, cool, straight. I think every time I said, I think I was only excited when I heard that with Destiny because it was my first. But after that, it was like, all right, cool, we good. Because the reality of it is that I knew what I was doing when I was doing it. I wasn't no idiot.
You knew.
It wasn't no,
What
oh man, oh shit.
That's why I do
Oh,
not understand
shit.
the fucking surprise factor.
Oh
Like you
shit.
didn't realize you
Man,
playing.
I thought I pulled out. Nigga, what the fuck? You thought wrong, nigga. You thought wrong. Your pull-out game is super weak.
Trash.
So no. So I don't understand how we supposed to be first in it all, but you take back seats. Now I don't take back seat to no fucking body. So with that being said, no, I know what the fuck I'm doing. And either we gonna ride or we ain't. But either way, I'm gonna be there. Even if I don't think I made the right decision, I'm gonna still be there. Even if I don't really want to fuck with you like that, I'm gonna still be there. Even though shit, we was just kicking it, we ain't even had no relationship, I'm gonna still be there. Moral of the story is, I'm gonna still be there. We're gonna go to commercial, we'll come right back.
Right on. Am I really pregnant? Am I pregnant? I think
Like, so that's what it's gonna be on the front of your mind?
that would be if you just having sex unprotectedly. I would always think like, you said, are you pregnant?
The paranoia that you experience is real.
You could be pregnant, bitch.
I ain't
I,
tripping.
all the
It's
time.
yeah.
All the time.
It's like I have like about 2 or 3 minutes of like, oh, shit, man. Then after that, I'm like, all right, bet.
It's done. It's
We're
done.
good.
Can't do nothing about it now.
Because I gotta make sure, see, I'm a different type of man. I gotta make sure that I show her that I'm good so she don't panic.
Mhm.
Now I can go panic in the car. About 5 minutes. But I ain't gonna show her that I'm panicking. You feel what I'm saying? Because I need her to be in a mental. It's very important that first trimester that woman is in a mental safe space. If she's not in a mental safe space,
But you know what's crazy? Women do the exact same thing
Like-
at the men. They be like,
and that transparent like that.
Oh, I shouldn't let this nigga go.
That first
Yeah.
trimester,
both people.
I can't have her stressed out. We can lose the baby. So no, I gotta be calm. I gotta be chill. I gotta make sure that I'm supporting. All right, what's the plan? And then we ride. So it's really about how you handle yourself, how you manage. I'm not saying I'll be lying to y'all if I said every time I've been told that I'm pregnant that I wasn't immediately scared. I'll be lying to y'all. I was scared every fucking time. But I ain't let them see that. I didn't show that towards them. I didn't display that energy on them. That's it. Like, you human, bro. You gonna be scared. Like, that's human nature. But you just can't be so scared to where you're running from your responsibility. Here's the hard reality that a lot of men don't like to deal with. Once a woman tells you that she's pregnant, you got a responsibility for that child and her. Honestly and truthfully, probably for the rest of your life. That's the part that a lot of men don't understand.
Not at all.
You can't say, man, all I'm gonna do is take care of my kid. Sound good, bro? Even I've said it. Yeah, it sound good. But bro, just as much as you, every time you taking care of your kid, you taking care of that woman too. That's a harsh reality. Because it's impossible to take care of your kid, especially from the ages of about 0 to 13. It's impossible for you to take care of that kid and not take care of that. Absolutely impossible.
I wouldn't even want to.
Absolutely.
I just
So-
can't even imagine the whole co-parenting
So as
experience sounds traumatic.
so
I
it's
told the bitch, she can't see my dog.
like so
it
as
just sounds so much.
so as much as you wanna think that you can do one and not the other,
Okay.
unfortunately, bro, you can't. And ladies, let me tell you this: if the man got kids already, if you don't think that you gotta have a healthy relationship with the other mothers, you're a fool. You're a fool.
Fighting for your life.
You're a fool. Because the reality of it is, you gotta have healthy relationships with them too. It might not be always, happy-go-lucky, but you gotta have a positive relationship with them. Because the reality of it is, y'all got one thing in common: y'all got kids by that man. And guess what? If you got any form of decency in your heart, you're gonna want your kids to know their siblings.
Yep.
So there's a lot that goes into this equation called a village. You feel what I'm saying? So it ain't just about, can I have, do I want to have kids with this individual? It's like, can we coexist with each other? Can we co-parent with each other? Are our beliefs the same?
Parenting
Are our
styles.
parenting styles the same?
This-
What is our schedules, our discipline? Like, I'm all for whooping ass, but I ain't never had to whoop none of my kids. I'm blessed, but I'm all for it. They can get that action, but I ain't never had to do it. I'm prepared, but I ain't never had to do it. So I'm grateful for that. You know what I'm saying? I got some whoopings when I was younger, so I just knew I was gonna have to whoop some ass.
Yeah.
But I've been grateful to not have to do that. But I've also learned. I'm one of them type of parents that I give you a little leash. I talk to you some more, then I talk to you aggressive, and then I'm whoop your ass. So I done gave you like 3 times before I done really said, all right, go get the belt. You know what I'm saying? So I've learned. Back in our day, it was just immediately, go get the belt. You know what I'm saying? You didn't get no warnings. Yeah.
I don't even know what I did.
That motherfucker
Kool-Aid on the plastic.
say,
I already know I'm gonna get a whooping.
that motherfucker was going across your motherfucking back before you could even try to fix the problem that you had. So the reality of it is, I don't do that.
Practice her swing.
Hell yeah. So I ain't got to worry about that.
I
So
don't even know who done called and
I
told
thought
her
my mama
what.
could
I'm
have
just
played for
looking
the
at her.
MLB. I'm just saying.
yeah, so I don't have to worry about those things. So I did fix, I do believe, some of my traumas with my kids, and I made sure that I didn't display those traumas on them. So they don't. And then the great thing is that they didn't have to see none of the hardships that I went through, because I didn't have them at such a young age to where they had to go through that process. By the time they were here and on this earth, I was already in somewhat of a pretty decent, situation in my life, to where they didn't have to live through some of those trying times that I had to
He was
live
figuring it out.
when I was figuring it out. So that's things that I'm grateful for. So whatever they know is because I told them. They don't know where daddy grew up. They don't know, how it was, and the not so good, home that I had, but it was a home.
Yeah.
They don't understand that. They ain't never had to deal with roaches and all that other stuff. They ain't have to deal with them stuff like that. You know, so those things I kind of already corrected, and then the rest of those things that I dealt with, you know what I'm saying, within my own self was already fixed before they even came to this earth. So now they have a healthy opportunity. It's not gonna be perfect, y'all. No,
Right.
no parenting, no relationship, that's not gonna be perfect. Never will be. But long as you fix some of your traumas, my kids ain't never seen me angry. They ain't never seen that rageful Dion that I had when I was younger, that hit walls and all that other stuff. They ain't have to worry about none of that stuff. So those things are things that I fixed and things that I corrected. So now moving forward, they only know whatever daddy tell them. They didn't get to have to worry about seeing all of that. And they also get to see better likes of their grandmother and their great grandmother, because some of the things that they did probably wasn't too great either. And they don't have to worry about seeing those things. You know, so by the time they came into this world, we were all in a transition stage of our life to where, okay, there's kids back about to be in this house and we need to make things better in a better environment for them. But that was already done before they were even thought of.
You did the work.
Right. So about time, you know, when I first heard the news that, hey, we pregnant, I was in a great place in my life for as trying to be a better man. So I was prepared mentally. Of course, I wasn't prepared for everything that comes with it. That's life. But I was definitely prepared to say, you know what, I can do this. And then the rest of it was just momentum of making sure that I would be 10 times better than what my dad was, which was nothing. All I had to do was be there in the hospital and be better than my daddy, really. But I still drive. I'm still driven by that. I'm still driven by, I'm going to show him that it ain't nothing that you can do for me that I can't do for mine. It ain't nothing that mine's going to want for. So I'm still driven by the lack of not having. The only time not having a father, and this actually is my closing remarks, but the only time not having a father bothers me is when my kids ask, where's my dad? It's probably the most hurtfulest thing I can hear right now in my life, because the only response I can give them is, I really don't know where yet, but I promise you, you don't have to ever have to worry about that experience. You don't have to question where your dad is. You don't have to question, why is he not answering the phone? You don't have to worry about, he didn't come pick me up. You don't have to worry about that. But it still is hurtful, because I know there's going to come a point in time in their life where I wish I knew him so I can give them some information. You know, it's possibility, you know, my son might be 6'5", and I ain't 6'5". His mama ain't 6'5". His grannies ain't 6'5". Where the hell he get this height from? I can't tell him that. You know, there might be things, you know, my daughter is very bright. Neither one of us are bright. Destiny is a bright-skinned young lady, and neither one of us is bright-skinned. And I don't know nobody on my family is bright-skinned. But there's things already that are happening and transpiring in my children's life that there is a piece of me that I can't give them. This is where, what do they say? I ain't really a big fan of it. What is it? Karma. And, you know, you reap what you sow. It's kind of where it's coming back to me, because now I am the recipient of something that I ain't asked for, which was the lack of a father. I'm the recipient of that. So now I have to fix what was never fixed with me. But the reality of it is, I can't fix something that was never fixed with me, because there's going to be some answers that I can't answer. Only that person could, which would be my father. So those things haunt me for the rest of my life. Yes, if you ask me, I'm the best father on earth. That's all great and dandy. But sometimes when I go to sleep at night, it's like, damn, I'm still missing a piece that I need to eventually give them, and I'm not going to have the answers. And as a father, for me, not having the answers for my kids hurt just as much as not being there. You know what I mean? So when you don't have the answers for your children, when they ask stuff, that does make you feel like you're less than, even though you know you're doing the best that you can. But the reality of it is I got to just push through. But I know that there's going to come a major time in one of my kids' life where I'm going to really need him, and he ain't going to be nowhere to be found. It is what it is.
Yeah. I don't have any words of advice for parents. I'm not a parent, you know.
Right.
And I made my choice based off me and what I needed. So I can't make any choices for other people. But I do see a lot of terrible parents or terrible examples of parents. And I know it's not a manual. But if you can not be that or not be something your kids have to heal from, I would appreciate it. You know, I would greatly appreciate that. But I don't have any advice for parents. I think that it's a task that you got to be equipped to do. And I chose otherwise. So if you feel like you should have chose otherwise, you're probably right.
Well, till next time, people, we out on the beast.
When I'm black.
Peace.